I prayed and nothing happened. I cried and heaven stayed silent. I did everything they told me to do, trusted God, worked hard, lived right, and still, my life fell apart. That was the moment I almost gave up on God. If you are watching this, maybe you are standing in that same place right now. Tired, confused, wondering if faith is even worth it anymore. Sit with me for a few minutes. I am an old man now, and what I am about to tell you may save your faith, like it saved mine. I have lived a long life. I have seen prayers answered and prayers ignored. I have felt God close, and I have felt Him painfully far away. I am not here to impress you. I am here to tell you the truth. Faith is not built in comfort. It is built in the darkest hours of your life. Let me tell you how I lost everything and found God at the very bottom. There was a time when my life looked perfect from the outside. People looked at me and said, "You're doing well." And they were right, at least on the surface. I had a steady job that paid the bills. I woke up with a schedule and a purpose. I wore clean clothes, shook hands with confidence, and spoke about the future as if it was already promised to me. I had respect. People listened when I spoke. My name carried weight in certain rooms, and that made me feel important. I had plans. So many plans. Plans for promotion, for comfort, for security. I believed I knew exactly where my life was going, and I walked toward it with confidence. Every morning, I thanked God for the good days. I said the right words. I bowed my head. I spoke prayers I had learned long ago. But if I am honest with you now, those prayers were polite, not desperate. They were routine, not deep. They came from habit, not hunger. Deep inside, I believed I was strong on my own. I believed my hard work was the real reason for my success. I believed my discipline, my intelligence, my effort were what kept my life together. God in my heart became a quiet supporter instead of the foundation. I prayed, yes, but I trusted myself more than I trusted God. When things went right, I congratulated myself. When things went wrong, I planned harder. I told myself I have control. I told myself I know what I'm doing. I told myself I don't really need help. Looking back now, I see the truth clearly. My faith was comfortable. It did not cost me anything. It did not challenge me. It did not require surrender. I believed in God, but I did not lean on Him. I thanked Him, but I did not depend on Him. And that was my mistake. Because life has a way of testing what you truly trust. And when the storm came, I learned the painful difference between believing in God and relying on Him. Life did not warn me before it changed. It never does. One day, I was standing strong, making plans, believing tomorrow was safe. The next day, the ground under my feet began to shake. It started quietly. A short meeting at work. Serious faces. Careful words. They told me my position was no longer needed. I remember nodding politely, shaking hands, pretending I understood. But inside, something cracked. I walked out of that building carrying a small box of my things, telling myself it was temporary. I said, I'll find something better. I said, this is just a delay. But days passed. Then weeks. No calls. No answers. My savings began to shrink. Bills stacked on the table. The confidence I once had slowly slipped away. Then I lost more. Friends stopped checking in. Some didn't know what to say. Others didn't want to be close to failure. I noticed how quiet my phone became. That silence was louder than any rejection. I lost my sense of identity. I had always been the man who had it together. Now I didn't know who I was. Each night I lay awake staring at the ceiling, replaying every decision I had ever made. I asked myself where I went wrong. I wondered why God was so quiet. I still prayed, but my prayers sounded different. They were rushed, heavy, filled with fear. I didn't feel close to God anymore. I felt confused by Him. I kept waiting for things to go back to normal. But normal never returned. What I didn't understand then is this: God was not destroying my life. He was stripping away what I depended on more than Him. But at that moment, all I felt was loss. I had trusted my strength, and now I had none. When suffering stays too long, it changes your thoughts. I started thinking God had abandoned me. That maybe faith was just a story we tell ourselves to feel safe. I still prayed, but my prayers were angry. Where are you? Why me? What did I do wrong? Slowly, hope began to leave my heart. One night, sitting alone in the dark, I said something I never thought I would say. God, I don't believe anymore. I felt empty saying it. Not free. Empty. I realized something frightening. I wasn't angry because God failed me. I was angry because He didn't obey my plan. Age teaches you this truth. God is not a machine that gives rewards for good behavior. Faith is not a deal. It is a relationship. And relationships are tested in hard times. I reached rock bottom. No money. No pride. No answers. One cold morning, I sat alone and whispered a simple prayer. God, if you are still here, I need you. That was not a strong prayer. It was not impressive. But it was honest. Something changed that day. Not my situation. My heart. For the first time, I stopped asking God to fix my life. I asked Him to fix me. And in that quiet moment, I felt peace. Not joy. Not excitement. Peace. Here is something I learned too late. God does not leave when life breaks you. He waits until you stop pretending you are strong. Faith is born in surrender. Life did not suddenly improve, but small things happened. A kind word. A small opportunity. A new direction. God rebuilt my life quietly. Brick by brick. Lesson by lesson. Looking back, I understand now. If I had not lost everything, I would never have found true faith. God took away what I leaned on, so I could finally lean on Him. Faith before suffering is fragile. Faith after suffering is deep. I no longer believed because life was good. I believed because God was faithful even when life was not. If you feel like giving up on God, listen to me carefully. You are not weak. You are honest. Bring your doubts to God. Bring your anger. Bring your tears. He can handle them. Today I live slowly. I listen more. I worry less. I trust deeper. I no longer ask God to explain everything. I trust Him to lead me through it. If you are at the lowest point of your life, you are closer to God than you think. Broken hearts hear God more clearly. Do not quit faith in the dark. The light is closer than you realize. I almost gave up on God, but He never gave up on me. And now, as an old man, I can say this with peace. Losing everything saved my soul. If you are hurting, stay. If you are doubting, stay. God is still working. Have you ever felt like giving up on God? This is a quiet, honest story about losing everything and finding faith at rock bottom. Through the wisdom of an old man, this video explores doubt, pain, surrender, and the deep peace that comes when faith is rebuilt in brokenness. If you are struggling, questioning, or feeling lost, this message is for you. If this story touched your heart, like the video to help others find hope. Comment if you've ever struggled with faith. Subscribe for more calm, faith-filled life stories. Turn on notifications so you don't miss the next lesson. You are not alone. God is closer than you think.